Hello, 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 everyone. I hope you've had a wonderful, wonderful day. What are we talking about? We are talking about money. We're talking about money flow. We're talking about history, current events, business cycles, economic cycles. Hello, Teresa. Welcome. So welcome to my live stream. Now, my live stream is basically my take, my view on what I see happening globally, economically, so that you can have a unique perspective on money flow. Now, my live stream is informational, it is educational. I am here to get you to think differently so you respond differently and you engage differently when it comes to money. Fundamentally, I want you to be able to make more better, decisive, critical thinking skills when it comes to money flow so that you are always on the positive side and you can have generational prosperity and build generational wealth. Now, a lot of the things I'm talking about, I'm going to be giving you my thoughts. So you take it for what it's worth, but I do ask you to focus. I ask you to tap the screen, and I'm going to ask you to focus and engage. Last but not least, I do have a moderator. I have talking points. Everything I'm going over has been planned, so I want to prepare you for what's going on. Last, please keep your preferences out of my live stream. I am focused on money. I am focused on objectivity, and I'm going to ask you very respectfully to keep your religious, your political, your race, your gender, whatever preferences you have. I'm going to ask you that you keep it out of my live stream so that we can focus on money. So I am starting off with Ethiopia, okay? Ethiopia has secured a 1.6 billion and mining and energy investment deal from China. Now, this is a wonderful, wonderful thing for Ethiopia, but I'm looking at this like, why now? Why has China all of a sudden showed up in Ethiopia offering $1.6 billion for mining and energy? Now, you already know that China has an export ban in regards to the United States. Okay, China has been stockpiling and not making resources available to the United States of America. Now, the United States of America has been going around selling chips and things like that I don't think they can produce, but nonetheless, there's a serious export ban that China has. Now, China has showed up in Ethiopia. Now, 1.6 billion, that's not a lot of money. That is not a lot of money. How many people are here? 339. I got 339, guys. Welcome to my live stream. My name is Tara. I focus on money, economics, business cycles, geography, and a number of different things. And I do ask for you to tap that screen because I'm going to give you my thoughts. I'm going to give you my perspective, but I need you to follow me. I need you to tap that screen, and I need you to know that we're live. You and I are connecting. Okay, so follow me, tap that screen, and let's get started. Now, the Ethiopian finance minister has announced signing 5 major investment deals amounting to $1.6 billion. Now, I'm asking, what is China up to? What is China up to? China is very strategic. Every time the U.S. makes a move, China is making a counter move. And it's not just making any counter move. It's making a boss counter move. I want you to know. Yesterday, if you watched my live stream, I told you it is my understanding that this is a modern day version of a Cold War that's happening. But this Cold War is a digital Cold War that's happening. Are you understanding me? I got a few people in here. I need you to tap. I know and you know how many people. I got my moderators right here. I need your support. I need you tapping the screen. I need you following me. I need you with me. Are you with me? Okay? This is for mental stimulation. This is for intellectual stimulation, and I need you to tap. All right? No sleepy time. I need you with me. All right? Now, China is breaking off Ethiopia, 1.6 billion, and it's because of a few deals that's happening. Now, let me tell you what I think. You want to hear what I think? You want to hear what I think? Tap that screen. I don't think it's a magical coincidence that China strategically shows up to some parties, okay? I have noticed a pattern of the great, beautiful nation of China showing up in strategic locations in the world that the U.S. happens to be around. Let me tell you what's going on, okay? Yesterday I told you how Saudi Arabia rolled out the royal purple carpet for the United States. Trump came with his entourage, okay? He came with his, I can't say it, I may get banned, so I'm not going to say it, but Trump came with his entourage, wink, wink, okay? He came with his fleet of his I'm going to leave it at that. Trump came with his people, okay? He showed up in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia rolled out the purple carpet. You know, U.S. basically lifted sanctions on Syria. So the U.S. is making a lot of business deals. Tap that screen. Follow me. The U.S. is making a lot of business deals in the Middle East. And strategically, around the same time, China goes, Ethiopia. Now, if you look at the geographical location of Ethiopia, you would see that Ethiopia is really close to Saudi Arabia. Are you with me? Come on now, tap that screen. Tap that screen. You are here for my thoughts, okay? You are here to follow me. Thank you, True. You're here to follow me. You're here to tap that screen. You're here to show your support, okay? Ethiopia divides Ethiopia and Saudi Arabia as the Red Sea. So China has arrived in Ethiopia bearing gifts. Now, what did I tell you about countries coming on your border bearing gifts? They're doing it for a reason. There are so many countries in the world. When another country comes with an investment deal at a particular time, you have to question why now. Are you with me? Why now? Why in the same week that the U.S. is dealing with Syria, the U.S. is dealing with Qatar, the U.S. is UAE, the U.S. is in Saudi Arabia, all of a sudden, Ethiopia lands on the horizon. It lands on the site of China. And I believe it's because of Ethiopia's strategic location. Tap that screen. Come on, guys. This is a live stream that I'm here to give you a unique perspective, but I need you to work with me, all right? If you're here, you need to tap, show your support. Yes, show your support. I'm going to give you information. I'm going to stimulate you, and this is what we're doing. Now, you may be noticing that my live stream is a promotional live stream. My live stream is promotional because I'm promoting me. This live stream, the show, is me. I am the show is me. So if you're noticing that this is a promotional live, it's because I'm promoting myself. I'm promoting my mind. I'm promoting my mouth because my mind and my mouth equals money. Cash, 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 cash. Okay? So yes, this is a promotional live stream. I'm promoting me. My mouth, my thoughts. Welcome to my live stream. It's about me, and I'm asking for your support. Your support comes through by following me. Your support comes through by tapping the screen, and your support comes through by going to my profile. Thank you, Mola. Going to my profile and actually getting me a cup of coffee. Now, I want you guys to know something. Those who join my membership, you get direct access to me, okay? In addition to you getting my thoughts about Ethiopia and China, you get to email me directly, you get to message me directly, and we get to have calls where we chill and chat, and you can ask me anything you want. So if you want direct access to this mind, to this mouth, I can talk about anything. Check out my membership on my profile. Check it out. You will find that I'm a great return on investment. Did you hear me? My mind and mouth is a great ROI because I speak money. I see money, I feel money, I taste money, and I know how to get the money. And I want to share that with you. Now back to this. Ethiopia's finance ministry announced signing 5 major investment deals. These investment deals are not a lot of money. This is not a lot of money for China. This may be a lot of money for Ethiopia, but this is not a lot of money for China. So I'm looking at this deal and I'm looking at the quantity, the dollar size of it. And to me, it says suspicious because Ethiopia is very close to the proximity of Saudi Arabia. Hi, Dusty. Thank you. Thank you. Now, guys, you see, Dusty supports me. Dusty has a whole playlist. He has a playlist of gifts that he gives me during the live stream. Now, Dusty, I want you to go to my profile, Dusty. You will keep your playlist, but I want you to go to my website and I want you to take it offline because I want to talk to you, Dusty. Now, back to everyone else. What's happening is that Saudi Arabia has pledged or got dibs on 18,000 NVIDIA chips. 18,000 NVIDIA chips, okay? You need to pay attention to me, guys. NVIDIA has offered Saudi Arabia, thank you, Dusty, 18,000 of its top chips that just been released. Now, the U.S. has concerns that those chips may end up in the hands of China, either physically or via the cloud. Now, China ends up offering an investment deal to Ethiopia. Ethiopia is the Red Sea away from Saudi Arabia. So if Saudi Arabia wanted to take one of those NVIDIA chips and hurl it across the Red Sea, I guess the NVIDIA chips could actually end up in the hands of China because China is going to be working in Ethiopia for mining. Are you keeping up with me? Tap that screen. I'm going to repeat what I said. The U.S. has concerns that if they give the chips, sell the chips to Saudi Arabia, tap, 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 tap. There's no sleeping. How are you going to sleep on me? Come on now, guys. You can't sleep on me. I'm just getting started. Come on now. Come on. I got money on my mind. I'm talking to you about money. Saudi Arabia is getting ready to dole out billions of dollars for NVIDIA's chips. The U.S. is basically saying, I want to sell it to you, but I want to control it. I want to sell it to you, but I'm scared that you can't control it and it may end up in China's hands. China now slides up in Ethiopia with a $1.6 billion deal. That's not a lot of money, guys. That is not a lot of money. Now, Ethiopia, if you cross the Red Sea, you're in Saudi Arabia. If you cross the Red Sea, you're in Ethiopia. So magically, the U.S. is saying, hey, I don't know, Saudi Arabia. I don't know. It may end up in China's hands. And guess who's in the back? Guess who is next door? Guess who's next door? China's next door. So every time the U.S. makes a move, China makes a brilliant counter move. So if Saudi Arabia wanted to basically take a drone, okay, put a few trips on a drone, fly that drone over the Red Sea and just drop those chips into China's hand. Thank you, Queen. Just drop those chips into China's hands. Guess what? It becomes a possibility. It becomes a real possibility. Now, sometimes you would think that the U.S. may be a little confused, paranoid. But I'm telling you, there are counter moves that are happening real time. Another example, the U.S. approves a loan to a company called C3. C3 is in Chile, mining with a Swiss mining giant. They are mining for cobalt. Within 2 to 4 weeks after C3 secures this loan from a government agency, the import-export agency from the U.S., guess who ends up in Chile around the same time for copper? So every time, what I see, is my opinion, every time the U.S. makes a move trying to secure critical rare minerals, I'm telling you, there's some brilliant minds, strategic, brilliant minds in China playing chess, and they're playing to win. Did you hear me? They're playing to win. If the U.S. is planting roots in one region of the world, they're doing the electric slide all the way to that region of the world because they are on the heels of the United States, okay? Now, these agreements are predominantly with Chinese companies for Ethiopia economic reform. China is looking to help reform the economy of Ethiopia. Why now? It's not for Ethiopia. I'm going to be clear. This is a self-serving investment. Now, what it truly means, I don't know, but what I will tell you this, anytime another country gets access, land access to another country, they are basically able to tap into information. They're able to tap into a lot of different things. But what I find most critical is Ethiopia's proximity to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia went on a spending spree this week. They signed so many deals with the U.S. I am questioning whether anyone got any sleep in Saudi Arabia. Second, Saudi Arabia, please don't ever sign that many deals again. When you sign that many deals at one time, I'm telling you, someone has tricked you. I'm going to repeat. Anytime you go on a shopping spree and someone tries to love bomb you, economically love bomb you, and get you to sign that many deals, I'm telling you, it's love bombing. It's economic love bombing. And the truth will come out over time, but it does, and the French, you're more than likely you're correct. Do not get economically love bombed by the U.S. or China. I'm telling these nations, whatever countries are watching me right now, do not get economically love bombed by the U.S. or China. The U.S. GDP is flat. The U.S. credit rating just dropped. The U.S. debt has flown past Pluto, and it's in a what is it called? It's in the Kuiper Belt. The U.S. debt is so fast and so far, it's in the Kuiper Belt. It's past, huh?
With a P.
Kuiper Belt? What is it?
Kuiper Belt. Kuiper.
It's in the Kuiper Belt. It's past Pluto. Anytime a country has a debt that's moving faster than the speed of light, and you just signed a bunch of economic deals with them, I'm telling you, what about Turkey? We'll talk about Turkey another day. We will talk about Turkey another day. But what I will say about Turkey is this.
What you doing about the
Turkey should be focusing on their economic reconstruction. But Turkey is buying weapon toys. Turkey is doing deals with Italy, and Turkey is also getting weapons and toys, spending money that way instead of fixing their economy, which has been questionable for a long time. Now, I don't know why Turkey needs so many weapons when that money could be put to use as far as redeveloping. Thank you, Dusty. Redeveloping their economy. But I'm telling you, Turkey's making some moves that's making me do a question mark. It doesn't make sense. Your economy has been struggling. It's been struggling for a very, 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 very long time. And Turkey is buying weapons. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. That makes no sense. Turkey's not the only one. Germany's doing it. There's a few countries that instead of fixing their economy, instead of fixing their household debt, instead of fixing their rate of bankruptcy, you know what they're doing? They're buying weapons, they're buying toys, and I don't think that's a good judgment. What that's telling me is something that we don't want to do, but guess what? Who listens to me? No one listens to me, right? Tap that screen. All right, guys? Tap that screen. Now back to this. The investments are for mineral mining rare earths, and it's to develop solar power. Now, why is solar power important? Developing solar power is to basically provide energy for AI. You see, the Middle East is making moves to develop an AI hub. They want to be the center, the leader of AI. One, because they have the money to do so. Two, because they can produce renewable energy that will make AI and quantum computing economically feasible. So China is now making a move in Ethiopia. One, because I'm sure look, Z, Lao, hello, you're going to be muted. Now, I indulge one question. But anyone who knows me, I have talking points. My talking points it's for everyone. It's not just for you. So I indulge one person in regards to Turkey. Now you just got muted. I run a very tight ship. I don't play. This is your first time here. I want you here, but you need to understand the rules. I run this show. I am the show. This is my show. Tap the screen, follow me, support me, and I will rock your mind and I will rock your world. But don't expect to take over my live stream. Do we understand each other? Do we understand each other? Now, this is a promotional live stream because it is my show. I am promoting my mouth. I'm promoting my mind, my mouth. And if anyone who wants to ask me a business-related question or any type of question, all you have to do is go to my profile, become a member of this show. You will be able to message me. You will be able to email me. We will get on a Zoom call and we will kiki. We will chill. We'll talk about whatever you want if you become a member of mine and support this show and make me famous. Okay? Now back on topic. Now, solar power. Solar power is critical because AI, thank you for the gift, AI needs renewable energy because fossil fuels is too expensive. That's why the U.S. is creeping and sniffing around the Middle East because we are trying to get access to energy that will make it economically feasible. Next, the U.S. is involved in Saudi Arabia because NVIDIA, the CEO of NVIDIA, I think his name is Wang, basically said that NVIDIA supports Saudi Arabia and becoming or developing its own AI hub and world. And in return, we offer Saudi Arabia 18,000 chips. But let me tell you what's going on. It's cheaper to have AI hubs in Asia and the Middle East. So while the U.S. is supporting Saudi Arabia by controlling their chips and selling the chips, they're actually trying to basically ride the coattails of the Middle East. And one of that is through solar power energy. The other is critical rare minerals. And that's why you see China and you see the U.S. making moves in that region of the world. But China's not done. China's making other moves. And I'm quite impressed, okay? I'm quite impressed because China is basically critical rare mineral resources, essentially trying to block the U.S. China is making offensive and defensive moves to prevent, thwart, halt the U.S. from getting access to the critical rare minerals that's needed for Tesla's robots, that's needed for NVIDIA's chips. They're blocking. Because let me tell you what happened. China's also in Australia. Yes, China went to Ethiopia, dropped 1.6 billion. Now, China, you and I know you should have broke me off a piece of that money. China, I'm talking to you. You just sent over 1.6 billion to Ethiopia. All you had to do was give me 90%. And I would have got you a bigger return on your investment. So next time, China, you want to break off some money, you send it my way. My mind and my mouth has an ROI that you will not believe. So next time you want to make money moves, contact me, China. Give me 90% and watch what I do with that money. Tap that screen, everyone. Tap, 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 tap. Tap this screen. Welcome to my live stream. Okay, I speak money. You understand? I speak money. China speaks money. China's in Australia. China just bought Australia's peak rare earths company for $97 million. China just went to Australia. It has paid $97 million for Australia's peak rare earths company, $97 million. Now, China, you and I both know unemployment is high. You know inflation is high. Where are you getting this money from, China? First of all, you are spending money in Australia, and China, you should be sending some over to me to support this show. But nonetheless, where are you getting this money from? Now, I know you had an 18 trillion GDP last year, which is excellent. It's the equivalent of the U.S. household debt. Yes, China made 18 trillion in 2024, and U.S. consumer debt, household debt, is at 18 trillion. You can figure that out at another time. China has high inflation. It also has high unemployment. Where is this money coming from that China is dropping money in Ethiopia? China is increasing the credit lines of Pakistan. It's increasing the credit lines of Nigeria. It's increasing the credit lines of Argentina. At some point, unless there is a money tree, I do have to ask, where is this money coming from? Is it being financed? Oh, thank you, Dusty. Is it being financed through debt, or are you offering this money through cash? because China is making serious moves. And you and I both know trade has been sluggish due to the tariffs, okay? So China has basically purchased a company in Australia for 97 million. Shenghe, I may be saying it wrong, forgive me. Shenghe Resources is acquiring Peak Rare Earths for 97 million in addition to a 48 million entitlement offer. Now, this entitlement offer is in Tanzania. China just bought a mining company that's based in Australia with the entitlement rights that are in Tanzania. Tanzania is in Africa. Tanzania. You see I'm getting corrected, right? Thank you, Dusty. You see I'm getting corrected by my moderator. China is now in Africa again. And this country is near the Congo. Now, who's in the Congo? The U.S. is working on a peace weapons deal with the Congo. So when I told you that every time the U.S. makes a move, say Shanghai, thank you, Shanghai. Oh, guess who's coming? I'm sending you a kiss. Shanghai, thank you. I'm just an ignorant American. I'm sending you a kiss. Guess who's coming? Kisses for you. Thank you. I'm telling you, the U.S. ended up in Chile. Thank you. China was there. The U.S. is in Saudi Arabia. China goes to Ethiopia. The U.S. is making a minerals for weapons deal. They're calling it a peace deal, but I'm telling you what it is. And guess who is now right next door to the Congo? Don't you think that's phenomenal? Every time the U.S. makes a move, they are right there every step of the way. This is, I'm on your tail, I'm on your heels, and you are not going to beat me. Now, I've referenced this before, and I'm going to say this again. I see this as a modern day digital version of the Cold War. And instead of us competing about who's going to get to the moon first, I see us basically trying to prevent each other from winning the AI race.
Support my channel.
Okay? If you're following me, tap that screen. If you're following what I'm saying, I want you to tap that screen. Follow my live. There's no live without you. All right? There's no live without you. Please tap the screen. Follow me, okay? And if you want direct access to my thoughts, okay, I'm going to ask you to become a member. Become a member of my live. Become a member of my show. And you can do that by going to the link in my profile, okay? I'm serious. You're going to be able to have personalized interaction with me. You're going to be able to message me directly, email me directly, and ask your questions about anything. Trust me, I can talk about anything.
Support the show.
Support my show. Support me. Go to the link in my profile, become a member, and let's rock, because I can actually change your life with this mind, okay? Follow me. Now, every time the U.S. makes a move, okay? Every time the U.S. makes a move, thank you guys, I love y'all. Every time the U.S. makes a move, China is making a counter move. Now, I told you, and I'm going to say this again, China is making sure that the U.S. cannot and will not be able to move ahead without them. You see, for a number of years, China has been manufacturing a lot of goods for the world and in particular the United States. The U.S. is trying to flex, is trying to change the terms of agreement. And the U.S. is also attempting to monopolize this AI, this quantum computing, this digital boom. What I see is that China is not going to allow the U.S. to be able to manufacture with ease. And that is why it's in different regions of the world, strategically, that's allowing them to halt the flow of the critical rare minerals that are needed for the U.S. to excel at this AI race. Also, the U.S. cannot produce the energy at an economically feasible price that will allow us to profit off of AI and quantum computing. And that is another reason why the US is positioning itself so heavily in the Middle East. We're positioning ourselves so much that President Trump has opened up a beachside resort in Qatar and opened up another condo complex in Dubai, and he's also opening one up in Vietnam. Yes, I just told you that the President of the United States and his family are leveraging these tariffs and trade talks to open up properties and regions of the world that they may not necessarily have had access to. I'm going to repeat this again, and I want you to tap the screen. President Trump family has just signed an agreement with Vietnam to open up a beachfront or a resort here in Vietnam. Now, if you know anything about Vietnam, you know damn well that wasn't possible. It's only possible because of these tariffs and the flexing the U.S. was doing that allowed the Trump family to show up in Vietnam, and now they got approval to invest in another property. Okay? You got one in Qatar, just open. You got one in Dubai, just open. And now you have one in Vietnam showing up. What you think about that? Vietnam had closed borders to U.S. money. How do I know? Because I'm here now. I'm in Vietnam right now. And I'm just telling you this week, it's been approved for Trump family to open up a beachside golf course resort here in Vietnam worth a few $billions. You can figure that one out, but I'm here to tell you about the money flow, and I'm also here to tell you shit stinks. And this shit doesn't smell right. But let's get back onto it, okay? So this company, all right, already owns 19.8% of Australia's rare earth minerals, all right? And it has bought the rights to buy all rare earth minerals concentrate from the Tanzania project. China is stockpiling critical rare minerals and resources. It is stockpiling what is needed for satellites. It's stockpiling what it needs for AI. It's stockpiling what we need for quantum computing. It's stockpiling what we need for renewable energy. It's also for humanoid robots. It's stockpiling. It's stockpiling. The U.S. will reach a point where either we have to sit down and have realistic conversations with China and realize our interdependency, or there's going to be some real hiccups in the supply chain for AI, quantum computing, cybersecurity, humanoid robots, the list goes on and on, even your cell phone. If we don't get this moving, and U.S. doesn't get access to the critical rare minerals, I'm telling you, there's going to be some real hiccups, financial hiccups, economic boom hiccups, and there's going to be a lot of delay. There's going to be problems, and money will go in the path of least resistance. If China has the critical rare minerals and China decides to sell them to a country like Saudi Arabia or start offering to Syria, that's going to cut the U.S. out. You understand? China is either trying to do a deal with the U.S. or cut the U.S. out. That is why they're making these counter moves. Are you with me? Tap that screen. How many people are here?
You have 350.
I got 350 people here. Welcome to my live. Now, this is a promotional live. I want y'all to know that. I am promoting me. I'm promoting my mind. I am promoting my mouth. And I'm asking you for your support of my live stream. Real support. If you want to connect with me one-on-one, real time, outside of this live stream, all you have to do is go to my profile, become a member, and then we can get it popping and have a great old time. I'm a very intelligent woman. Support the show. The only reason why I can't let my mouth rip is I'm restricted because I'm on TikTok. If you want to hear my real thoughts and how they roar, jump on a Zoom call with me. Jump on an email with me and I will shock and rock your world, okay? Now, rare earths are strategic resource. It is economic leverage. China is using that as economic leverage against the U.S. And it's going to flex and put its foot on the booty of the U.S. if we cannot come to a deal. Now, this Tanzania project is huge. It is very huge. And it's more than a coincidence that this country is located next to the Congo. And the Congo has one of the largest reserves of blue gold, and blue gold is cobalt. Cobalt is a vital component to cell phones and other digital technologies that we all use, or we're becoming accustomed to, or it's getting ready to be released. So what I'm trying to tell you is that it's not a sheer coincidence that China is next to the Congo when the US is there in the Congo. Now, what I typically see is that countries that have a hard time managing their critical minerals, there are countries like Nigeria who have mismanagement, a lack of oversight, and an inability to secure their resources. What happens is that those resources magically move out the country. If you understand what I'm saying, tap that screen. Those resources, when they're mismanaged, there is corruption, there is lack of security, okay? There's lack of security and oversight. Those resources just magically disappear overnight. Like the tooth fairy came and a truckload of cobalt, a truckload of lithium, a truckload of gold just disappears. This is what has been happening to a number of countries in Africa. Resources that could bring billions, trillions of dollars are basically like air. It's just disappearing. It's disappearing. So when I see that China is near the Congo and the US is in the Congo, how hard is it to go across a border, make a deal, drive your truck, take your truck and take it back to Tanzania and move on with your business? And how would the US know any different? The same thing with being in Ethiopia. China is working to do mining in Ethiopia. How hard is it for a boat to go back and forth between Saudi Arabia and Ethiopia to exchange goods? So what I'm telling you is that you see China making money moves. I see that too. Hello, Cash. What I see is that there's some counter moves, counterintelligent moves, and geographical strategic moves that are happening to interfere with the money flow of China and interfere with the money flow of the US. I am essentially saying I see the US and China intentionally interfering with the money flow of each other because each one is trying to prove a point and they're trying to win. Now, what they're trying to win, I don't know, because this is supposed to be about money, right? How many people are here?
337.
I got 337. You can't be asleep on me. Come on now, we got to wake up. Tap, tap, tap that screen. Welcome to my live stream. My name is Tara. I am a digital nomad. I appreciate you being here, but I'm going to ask you to tap to show your support. I'm going to ask you to follow me to show your support. And I'm going to ask you to become a membership of my site. Cell phones. Cell phones are a big part, Queen. I'm asking you to support my live stream and become a member. And with that, you will have direct access to my mind and my thoughts. Check out the link on my profile, okay? Check out the link on my profile. I'm giving you guys direct access to me outside of TikTok. And if you see any value and you value money, or if you just want to kiki chit chat, you want to get to know me, thank you for the gift. You want to get to know me, I'm giving you access to me, but you got to make a move. Check out the link on my profile. I'm telling you that what you see happening between the US and China is not what it seems. It is bigger than what it seems. Hi, David. It's bigger than what it seems. It's more powerful than what it seems. And it has far-reaching economic, and technological impact. If we can't produce, hello, Wendy, if we can't produce those chips, that means NVIDIA, whose stock price just went up, whose market cap just went up, NVIDIA is going to have a bit of a problem. Tesla's going to have a bit of a problem. Why is this a problem for the U.S.? Because the Titan 10, the tech titans of the U.S. economy are the companies that's been carrying us further, carrying our economy, carrying our GDP further. Their innovation, their worth has made our stock market just boom. If these companies cannot deliver, cannot import and export with ease, that means there's trouble in paradise. Now, I told you yesterday, I don't believe that NVIDIA can easily, readily deliver 18,000 chips to Saudi Arabia because our stockpile of critical rare minerals is diminished. Yes, we have a deal with Ukraine, but the deal with Ukraine is not enough to support the digital economic boom that we're having right now. Yes, we have a recession and we have a boom happening at the same time. The boom is with digital technologies. You need cybersecurity, serious cybersecurity. Oracle just got hacked. Coinbase just got hacked. Dior just got hacked. So you have all these companies who are doing a race for AI. They can't economically, feasibly afford the energy cost that goes with AI. There is a critical rare minerals ban, okay, by China. They're not exporting. So how are we going to produce it? Tesla is not able to export, as far as I know, their robots out of China. And NVIDIA can't sell the way they used to in China. So you have all these obstacles interfering with money. I'm telling you, this is a house of cards that are going to collapse. Now, I see the easiest place to do this is in the Middle East. But the Middle East needs cybersecurity. Cybersecurity means you need access to critical rare minerals and you need the brilliant minds. What is the point of setting up an AI hub, an AI world, and you don't have a digital iron dome to protect it? You see, we're all excited about AI. We haven't even considered what quantum computing and AI coupled together, what that means for the world. You have AI alone who's changing the game. You put quantum computing with AI, put it in a humanoid robot. We are living in a new age, a new time. So China's stockpiling, the US is selling chips that they can't actually produce. And then you have the Middle East who can do the energy, who can do the infrastructure, but the West is trying to control them. China is moving in, and no one has ironed out how you're going to have cybersecurity for an AI world that's going to reach to satellites and reach to every continent. Who is accounting for our lackluster cybersecurity? Who's going to do it? Now, Saudi Arabia is working to set up their infrastructure. But what is the point of setting up your infrastructure if your security game is not right? You have Syria, who's now open to free trade and a land of opportunity, and Syria can produce an unbelievable amount of renewable energy, all different types of renewable energy. Where's the security? To build the security, the weapons that are needed to protect your AI hub, your AI world, you need access to the minerals that China is stockpiling. So China is stockpiling behind the scenes because they know the US can't produce without having the critical rare minerals. They know any country that wins this AI race can't do it without the right critical rare minerals to have the cybersecurity to protect it. So this is an opportunity and a clusterfuck at the same time. And I'm trying to figure out who is the mastermind to pull this together. Because all I see is sabotage and espionage. I see sabotage and espionage. The US is trying to do a digital embassy in Saudi Arabia, claiming national security without thinking about Saudi Arabia's national security. Saudi Arabia is handing over billions, hundreds of billions of dollars to the US, and the US is giving less. I'm telling you, Saudi Arabia is giving more money and receiving less in return. Now, I don't know what type of business deal is that, but if you're trying to win this AI race, you cannot be giving more than what you receive. That's not a deal. That's called a chump deal. That's not a real deal. That's a chump deal. That means you just got played deal. I'm trying to get you paid, and you just set yourself up to get played, and you don't even know it. So what I'm trying to summarize for you guys is that money flow is happening, but sometimes money flow happens not necessarily with cash. Money flow can happen with information. Money flow can happen with natural resources, meaning blocking them, blocking trade, blocking production. Money flow can happen with digital power, influence, alliances. So money doesn't necessarily translate into dollars immediately. That money may come at a later date. And information is always more valuable than money. When you have the right information at the right time, you can always translate that to money. Thank you for subscribing, Kay. Thank you, Keith. You can always translate that to money. So when I talk about these stories, I want you guys to understand money talks in many different ways. Thank you, Coffee. Money shows up in many different ways. And I want you to be able to understand the way money moves. Thank you, Coffee. The way money moves is not what you think. And sometimes cashing in that money will come at a later time. How many people are here?
286.
I got 286. Hi, Jensen. Now, I want you guys to know, if you're here, you got to follow me. That is mandatory. You got to follow me. You got to tap that screen. Now, here's the last thing. China is granting visa-free entry on a trial period to nationals from Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Peru, and Uruguay. Magically, recently, China is offering 1 year visa-free entry to nationals from Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Peru, and Uruguay. Now, on one hand, you say, wow, that's very nice of China. Let me tell you what I say. Why now? I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. It doesn't make sense. Now, I know it's nice, but if you pay attention to when the U.S. allows other nationals from other countries to come in, when the U.S. allows an influx, when the U.S. allows, see, Jensen, you're not focused, baby. You're going to get blocked, okay? My live stream is about money. It's not about honey, okay? My live stream is about money, not honey. You can find honey someplace else. I speak cash, okay? Learn from Jensen, guys. Don't do that. Don't do that on my live stream. This is about money, okay? You can get this honey someplace else. I speak cash. Now, back on topic. When the U.S. allows an influx of nationals from other countries to come into the U.S., you must understand it's for an economic and informational benefit. The U.S. does not just allow any and everyone just to come into the country all because we woke up on the wrong or right side of the bed. So the fact that all of a sudden China is allowing on a trial period visa-free entry of 1 year starting on June 1st for nationals from Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Peru, and Uruguay, I say interesting because here's the thing. China has a swap line of credit with Argentina. I think China just increased the swap line. Now that swap line is essentially a credit line. It's a line of credit, but it's a line of credit between one government to the next. Now, why is China offering a swap line? It's to help stabilize that country's economy, but it's also to have its influence in that country. Next, it causes reliance. When another country is relying financially on China, that means it has influence, it has power, it has an unspoken loyalty between Argentina and China. Now, here's the funny thing. Pakistan also has a swap line with China, but they're not included in the visa-free trial period. Nigeria just got a bump up in its line of credit with China, but they don't have 1 year of visa-free entry. So my brain naturally goes, why? Why these countries? Why? And the first thing I go to is I go to the map. I look at the map. First of all, these countries are very close to China. I look at the strategic location and proximity to the US. And then I look at, why would China allow these nationals just to come back and forth from their country to China and from China to back? And I say, I think it's information. Because I believe some of these countries also has the ability to travel to the US. There's a triangle here. There's a triangle. The US and China, they're having some struggles, okay? It's a love-hate relationship right now, okay? They love to hate, they hate the love. It's a love-hate relationship between China and the US. So now what's happening? China then says, because China's smart. China's really smart. China says, I'm going to allow, on a trial period, visa-free entry for these countries. That means these citizens can travel back and forth between China, and I believe some of these citizens can also travel to the US. So do you see the triangle of information exchange? Now, some of these countries also have a swap line, which means they are financially reliant on China. So what I'm trying to tell you is that there's many ways to get access to information. And sometimes you have to get it from the back door. You have to do it covertly. No country allows visa-free entry from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different countries without a damn reason. It has to be a money reason, it has to be a geographical location reason, or it has to be an information reason. No country just allows other citizens to come and go as they please unless there is an ulterior motive. Very simple. It is a big risk. It is a big investment. And the benefits have to outweigh. The benefits have to outweigh. And just because you can't see it, it doesn't mean anything. Why does Pakistan not have it? Why is Pakistan not included on this list? Why is Nigeria not on this list? You have to think about it. Nigeria has a swap line. Why is it Nigerians not able to come back and forth? Pakistan, why can't they go back and forth? So if those countries were chosen, I'm telling you, it remains to be seen what it means. But I believe it's information. I believe it's information. I believe it's a swap of information. I believe it's a digital strategic positioning on a location as far as geographical location. But I believe it's mostly access to information because you're allowing people to come and go. And I believe these citizens also have the ability to come and go from the US, okay? So 2 countries on the list, they use the yuan, all right? They have a credit swap with China. So 2 of these countries have a credit swap with China and it's in the yuan. China has made it known that they want their currency to be the number 1 currency, to be the reserve currency. So what China has been doing is that it's been offering higher swap lines in the yuan because they want to increase the usage of it so it can go from number 5 ranking to number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1. The US is the number 1 currency because it's the reserve currency. China is making moves to increase the amount of usage and the amount of yuans that are circulating in the global economy. That is another counter move that China is making in regards to the US. And the timing is very interesting because yesterday or 2 days ago, like I just said, the US credit rating just got dropped. The US credit rating just got dropped. So if I was China, I would see it as an opportunity to make a move. So it's not a coincidence that there is visa-free movement between a region of the world that's close to China and relatively close to the US, okay? Now, trade between Latin America and China has surpassed $500 billion in recent years. Latin America is making moves to strategically align itself with China. I just saw an article today saying Colombia is aligning with China because China is investing money in this region of the world. Now, the US usually shows up when it needs something. China is making long-term alliances and economic relations and investing in these regions of the world. Now, you know, when we trade, our trade ships go around that region. Okay, we have trade ships going around that region. I believe China still owns a good amount in the Panama Canal. I believe that sale did not go through. And China is setting up home shop in Latin America through financial investments, through political alliances, and I believe it's called it's a counter move. It's basically to block the U.S. one way or the other. Either the U.S. is going to come to the table and have a conversation, or the U.S. is going to have to find a way to teleport. We're going to have to teleport goods and services and avoid China's footing on the map. Either we're going to have to learn how to teleport or we're going to have to sit down and basically reconcile with China and the strategic moves it's made on the chessboard, okay? Now, China is promoting good relations and strong investments, and it's basically with countries who need help, who need structure, who need financial support, and they can get intel about the U.S. The U.S. is there also, but the U.S. is not invested in South America the way we used to be, we should be, or we could. You understand? So what is the summary of this live stream? The summary of this live stream is as follows. 1, if you're here for the first time, please follow me, support my show. 2nd, I am the show, okay? I'm the face, I'm the mouth, I'm the mind. Welcome to my live stream. Please follow me, please tap the screen. Fundamentally, I want to help level up your money game, your money flow understanding, your understanding of current events, your understanding of history. And I'm here to push your mind. I'm here to break the construct of your mind. And I'm here to get you to notice things that you normally would not pay attention to. Because when you think differently, you move differently. When you move differently, you make different decisions and you become more fluid and more dynamic. When you're dynamic, you can actually follow money flow very easily. The problem is that a lot of people are stuck in an employee mindset. You're stuck in a bubble. And when you're stuck in a bubble, you have a hard time understanding that you can have an economic recession and an economic boom happen at the same time. Just like one part of the world is daylight, it's daylight for me. It's morning for me, but it's nighttime for a lot of you. So what I'm trying to get you to understand is that you live in a duality. You live in a world where right and wrong, yes, no, broke, rich, economic recession, economic boom. So when there's a recession happening on one side, I'm trying to teach you that there's an economic boom happening on the other. But if you don't see it, you don't understand it, then you cannot position yourself for the prosperity that you rightfully deserve. Next, I'm trying to teach you how to analyze things because things do not happen in a vacuum. You like to call it a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences. What I believe is human motivation. Humans don't do anything unless they're suffering or it's self-serving. I'm going to repeat this. Humans take action either when it's self-serving or there's a certain amount of suffering. And this applies for a business and this applies for even a country. So when I'm talking to you about the moves that China's making these moves to safeguard its economic influence, its power, its stature, its country, its citizens, its global reach, but it also is working to surpass the U.S. There's a little bit of competition. There's a little bit of ego. So when you understand the nature and dynamics of humans, you understand the history of a country and how they move, you can interpret with a better probability what is best for you to invest your time, your energy, your money in. Next, where do I come in? I usually dissect things from a very 4D, 5D way. Where you see something is a linear, I look at it like my mind turns into a matrix. I keep poking holes, I keep poking holes, I keep poking holes until it makes sense to me. You see China spending money, I see China spreading itself thin. No one spreads themselves thin unless they have a lot to lose and a lot at risk. What's at risk? Money. power, jobs. That's what's at risk for China. That's also what's at risk for the US. And if you look at history, when a country is typically struggling or going broke, I told you this yesterday. What do? They go out. They show up on the shores. They show up on the borders of another country. And what do? We find a slick ass way. We find a slick ass way to take the resources, to get the money, to take over, conquer, or occupy the land. We find ways to supplement our lifestyle. That is typically how it's worked. It doesn't matter if it's the US, it's Britain, it's China, it's India, it's South America, the Roman Empire, the Ottoman Empire. That is what happens. When you don't have enough, you go venturing out. So when I see the US showing up in Saudi Arabia, and China's in Nigeria, and the US in Chile, and then China's in Australia, that's telling me that these superpowers, these empires, are struggling. That's the only time they get up off their ass and they go venturing out making deals. It's because their own economic house is faltering and it's crumbling. And why I talk about this, because I want the rest of the world to know. You must know when these countries show up at your doorstep, if you knew your power, you knew your influence, and you understood why they were at your door, you would actually negotiate better economic deals. The problem is that there's too many countries in this world who have gotten comfortable with being a resource-based, a provider-based nation, meaning you've gotten used to being exploited and having your minerals or your people taken. When you understand why a nation has landed on your doorstep and smiling in your face, you should know that that country is in need. Now, yes, you may be in need and they have money, but I can tell you, your resources are worth more than the cash that they have in that briefcase. And if you understood your economic positioning and you had better people who are visionary and who can negotiate those deals, you could take your country a lot further than what you've been doing. There is a game. There's a money game. The U.S. became a superpower because the U.S. is good at our tricks. The U.S. beat the British because we tricked them. Did you hear me? We went to war. We went to war. It's a money game. We went to war with the British at a time where the British were exploiting us through taxes. U.S. citizens actually dressed up as Native Americans to trick the British, and then the whole fighting starts. So when you understand the history of a country, then you know their pattern. You know their moves. You know when they're tricky. The British Empire has a long history. If you go back in time during colonization, they operate a certain way. That's where the U.S. got our game from, our money game. China has its own money game. Look at the thousands of years of history of China. Look how China has rose to power, fallen to poverty. Rose to power, fallen to poverty. Because these countries follow a very similar energetic pattern. So that is why when I'm talking to you, and I include history, because I can see patterns and parallels that tells me people haven't changed. And countries are made up of people. And when you put all the people together, you have a collective consciousness, a collective economic consciousness that plays itself out over and over again. It's only a matter of time. And when you understand it, you can sniff where it's going. You can sniff where it's going. It takes some type of growth for you to respect money, understand the flow of money, and let money move flow. And when you let the money flow, you let the money move in a very free trade, a very transparent type of way, then you have global prosperity for everyone else. And global prosperity is really important. Hold on, patterns and parallels. Here's a puzzle. Yes, Red, it's patterns and parallels. You've heard people say that money is energy. Money is energy. We're all energy. And money moves according to the energy, what's happening around. Right now, we are alive at a time where there are some major rifts and major shifts that's happening. And just because it hasn't fully materialized, if you look at a bigger picture, a grander scale, there is a pattern to global trade, economic growth, prosperity, even when the world is suffering poverty-wise. There's a pattern. And when you understand these patterns, you can avoid it. So when I talk about broke money to new money to more money, I'm trying to get you to see that there's a rhythm, there's a pulse to prosperity. And just because the West has been rich for 100, 200, 300 years, that doesn't mean that the West will always be rich. The money will eventually have to flow back to Asia. The money will have to flow back to the Middle East. The money will have to flow back to South America because that is the world that we live in. Just like ocean tides shift and the wind shifts and the seasons shift, money also shifts. A region of the world that's desert can become a rainforest, and a rainforest can become a desert. That's why it's so important to understand so many different facets and to see things from a non-discriminating point of view. So when I ask you to leave your preferences out of my live stream, your racial, your religious, your political, your gender, because that clouds your judgment. And I'm trying to get you to think differently in a very objective, a very keen, a very shrewd, and a very matter-of-fact way. Does that make sense? So I hope you've enjoyed my live stream today. Please follow me. But what I'm most asking you for is I want to take this to the next level. Okay? It's time for me to stop doing this low budget live streaming. And I need to show you guys who you're really working with. Because I'm telling you, boldface, you have no idea what I can do. I'm restricted on what I can or cannot say because of the platform that I'm using. And if you want full access to my mind, my thoughts about what's happening, I'm asking you to become a patron because you get direct access to me. I'm going to say this again. If you like my live stream, this is nothing. This is low budget. This is basement. This is basement of what I can do. I'm restricted because of how I'm delivering it to you. So I am encouraging you to become a patron of my live stream. Go to my profile, become a member, and let me rock your world, because I can guarantee you, you will never get bored with me. No one will stimulate your mind the way I do, and I will have you looking at things that will blow your mind and change your perspective as far as achieving your goals, your outcome, return on money. I have a perspective that you cannot imagine. I can identify problems, pinpoint issues, provide solutions that you wouldn't believe that I saw and I pieced together, because my mind is very 4D, 5D. Seriously. So become a patron, support my live stream, let me show you what I can do, and let's take this to the next level, because money's always on my mind. Last, the more support I have, the better I get. Let me tell you a secret to me. The more support I have, my mind just it compounds. So if you want to see what I'm capable of, show me your support and I will rock your world no matter where you are, in whatever country you're in, I will rock your world.
Check the link.
Okay? Check the link in my bio. Thank you for your patience. This live was promotional, but I'm promoting me. It's all about me and you, and I'm here for you. Make me famous. Okay?
I need an HBO show.
I need my HBO show, and I want you guys to help me get there. Make me famous, and let me help you make this money. Real talk. I say what I mean what I say. Have a great night. Thank you for your support. Thank you for following me. Go to my link, and I will see you all tomorrow. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful night, and I want you to have money dreams. Money, money, money dreams. And I want you to hear my mouth. I want you to dream of money, and I want you to hear my mouth. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you again. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye.